Hi, Ricky Salinas with Freedom Plumbers and Pumpers, Septic and Drain, coming to you from a home in Broad Run, I believe, with a septic system inspection. We had an inspection performed last week for the septic tank and the finding of the distribution box, as well as digging and discovering the box for a visual inspection of the box itself. And today we have the second part of that inspection, which is the inspection of the drain field. With that being said, I have a full report with this video, so let's get comfortable and check it out. We're going to start with the layout of the land. I'm going to flip the camera. Okay, so you have the home driveway, a former line of trees. There's a tree there, a former tree there, a former tree over there, and there's still one standing over there. Most of those trees were about that size or a little bit smaller, and they were very nicely and neatly planted right in this area. After the first inspection of last week, the homeowner went ahead and chopped down those puppies, as you can see, and there they are over there. So we have the home. The septic tank outlet is exposed right there is the lid, the distribution box, and then the drain field. Now this is a substantial size drain field. Each one of those lines is approximately 85 to 91 foot long, approximately. I can't tell an exact length because a lot of these lines end in the brush over there. They actually extend into the brush, which is filled with poison ivy. Not necessarily looking forward to that today, but I got close to most of the ends. So I'm just going to give you a quick look-see at the septic tank real quick. Again, here's the home. And that's the septic tank outlet with a baffle. So this is the inlet, this is the outlet, and at an angle, the baffle outlet goes this way, and then it curves around until it goes into the D box. Sorry for if you can see my moving the camera as I make every pace. All right, here's the distribution box. Hey, old sucker, we have a concrete pipe, which someone appears to have installed this little piece right here, which appears to be for a baffle to slow down the effluent as it exits that tank, rushes down this hill, and then splashes against that baffle in order to slow it down, and then allows everything to hopefully flow evenly into each one of the header lines. Now, this particular box has 7 lines. It's going to be a little bit harder to see, but we do have one snuck behind that baffle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one right here, 7. Okay, so 7 lines. After a thorough inspection of this concrete box, you will see right around here, there's no more wall. That's actually dirt and root on that part. There's an excessive amount of buildup inside of the box, and inside of the lines, there is a lot of grease, or what we like to call fog, which is fats, oils, and greases. Those come from the septic tank after it went through its post-treatment process or pre-treatment process, and unfortunately allowed some effluent to enter into this box and subsequently into the drain field throughout the decades. So anyways, this box clearly is several decades old, has given its service, it's time for a replacement. Another item this box doesn't have to control the flow of the effluent into each one of those 7 lines is there's no dials. Dials are these little kind of like hockey puck size circular units that go inserted inside of each one of those header lines, and inside that puck there's a smaller line that allows us to move the dial left or right so that the line goes into whatever area we need it to be to allow flow to exit into each one of these header lines equally. It's a little bit harder to explain without a visual representation, but needless to say, all of these lines should have a dial. They don't have them. A new box would require them. So anyways, this box has to be replaced. Now, let's go back to what we came here for today, the drain field. This drain field, since this property kind of comes down, it really does come down, has a really nice little grade to it. Each one of these drain fields circles around the hill. Most of them circle around the hill like so, and then end up in that brush over there. Like I mentioned, several of them are about 85, some of them are about 91 foot long. Now most of these lines, more than half of these lines are okay, and then the other half not so much. So we're going to talk about each one of the lines. So header line 1, drain field header line comes from the box off of the one line that's on this wall, comes off of the box, comes around here. It is all corrugated pipe. This is the header line. This is location of the transition between header and drain field. Then from here is the drain field. Now, if and when somebody comes out here to do a secondary inspection, possibly an OSC, each one of my flags have been titled the number 1 header DF. DF meaning drain field. Okay, so with that being said, we continue and circle around until we make it to near the end. You might be able to see my little probe several feet away. I'm just going to walk it just so you understand the route. We're coming around the field. Now we're starting to turn. And that's my probe. I'm unable to touch the drain field line. This ground is very solid. And there it is. Number 1 and the word end, meaning that's the end of the line. I have gravel here at the end of my line. This line is nicely open, nothing to report. Line number 2, however, it exits straight out of the D box. No turns, no nothing, just straight out. And it does have a collapse. That collapse is, actually hang on for a second. Line 1 does have a partial collapse, my bad. Please forgive me, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Line 1 has a partial collapse right here. This partial collapse has a perfectly round pipe pinched. That needs to be repaired. Who knows why it was collapsed, but there it is. That should be repaired. That's in line 1. Line 2 comes out and complete collapse right there. I am unable to get past that point and reach the next point. This line is also the worst out of all of them, filled with sludge and grease. This one needs to be addressed via hydrojetting. Line 3, which is right here. Again, the same locations and the same markings are DF and HL, drain field and header line. Drain field, header line, drain field, header line. This one continues all the way to its end, which is all the way down there. Hard to see from here, but you'll be able to see the line of flags. And that one has nothing special to it. Nothing to report. It is nice and dry. Just a little bit of sludge. Again, expected after decades and decades of use. It does have sludge in it. Hydrojetting is recommended. Line 4, we exit, come around, and then continue all the way to the end. Let's see, 4, 5. Let me see real quick. Sorry, I did so much here that I'm actually losing my count here. Let me see with line 4. Line 4 is open all the way to the end. Some sludge in that line, and again, it ends in brush. Okay, now we're going to enter the problematic side of the system. So line 5, I'm going to show you where line 5 is on this box. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 5. 5 exits, and as you can see, it's going towards the tree. And the line 5 header line goes under the tree, and then it turns and it continues all the way to its end, which is all the way over there, also marked. That entire line is 100% saturated. And I mean saturated, it's holding wastewater in the form of effluent. Not one section of that pipe is dry. It's 100% saturated, not taking any more load. And it's going to be the same story for every line after that, except that there's some collapses in line 6 and 7. And I'll show that to you right now. So line 5, that one right there. Line 6 exits, goes under that tree, makes a harsh turn, and collapses right here. That X means collapse. The flag is marked as line 6, collapse, and 100% saturation. I am unable to pass this point. So furthermore, I can't get to the rest of the line. 100% saturation. Can't see anything. It is filled with water. Line 7 is the one that's hiding behind the baffle. Comes out under this tree. Makes a harsh right. It partially goes under that tree. It's right at the edge of that tree. And then collapse right there. Now this collapse, unlike all the others, is actually showing effluent on the ground. These lines appear to be 24-inch to cover. I have a 24-inch cover, my bad. And they're pretty badly saturated. So there you go, effluent on the ground. These two clearly are saturated because you're losing about 70% in this line and about 90% of this line. You're probably 100% of that line. There's no use at all because of the collapse. Furthermore, redistributing the load very heavily to the other 4 lines. Actually 5 lines. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, to the other 4 lines, redistributing pretty heavily the load. So 5, 6, and 7 are highly saturated. All the other lines are open. We do have some collapses. I do believe that because of the extraordinary saturation and the near 50% utilization of this D-box due to 3 out of the 7 lines having 100% saturation and collapses, I will consult with an on-site soil expert to see what he would have me do in this particular circumstance. Should I continue with the repairs that are required for this system to get up to code, that being a filter and a riser being in that septic tank, a brand new distribution box with an inlet with a 90 down with a vent hole on the top, dials on all 7 lines, repairing the collapses in drain field 1, drain field 2, drain field 6, and drain field 7, capping off line 5, line 5, 6, and 7, allowing them to dry, see if they will come back. Will that be required, or do we have to even expand it more and possibly replace those drain fields, meaning line 5, 6, and 7? I do need to consult with them. I think with him, actually. I think it's highly important that we figure that out, because if this drain field is not functioning, all of these repairs that are recommended mean nothing. It's like putting brand new tires and brand new paint on a car with an engine that's almost out. So I'm going to talk about that with an OSC, and we'll see where we come out with him. Okay, he may have to come out here and make proper recommendations on how to move forward from here. I know we're going to have all these repairs. Everything I just mentioned in this video will also be on a report. We're going to have those repairs. It's not just the D-box. We have a little bit of things here, a little bit of things there, a little bit of things here, a little bit of things there that have to be done. But all of it is meaningless if we can't get those drain fields running again. So anyways, that's where I ended today. I know it's a long video. We're at almost 13 minutes. We're probably going to end up at 14 minutes. Everything I said will also be in the form of drawings. I'm going to have as-builts. I'm going to have as-builts of the septic system, as-built for the drain field distribution, as well as this distribution box. And I'll have a full septic report with about 6 pages worth of stuff to analyze and study. Remember, when it comes to septic, it's not just dig, repair, and move on. It took decades for this system to get to where it is right now. And it's going to take just a little bit of time to get it back up to life again, okay? It is my job, as well as your job as the homeowner, to keep these systems running as long as possible before you have to do a replacement. Because we never know which way we're going to go with that replacement. You may still qualify for conventional. You may have to go to alternative, which that's a whole different ballgame to talk about. I prefer to repair than replace. And since this system is pretty old, it's going to have a couple repairs that have to get done in order to bring it back up and running and lasting for a very long time, for as long as you follow the protocol on how to use properly a conventional septic system for the size of house that it has been installed for. So anyways, that's where I ended today. My name is Ricky Salinas. I'm with Freedom Plumbers and Pumpers, Septic and Drain. I'm coming to you from Broadmoor, Virginia. My phone number is 703-895-4109 with an email of ricky@freedomplumbers.com and a website of www.freedomplumbers.com. Thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next one.